Hey there, folks! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Iowa, a region in the United States of America. So, let's get started. Iowa, a picturesque region in the heart of the U.S., is steeped in history and culture. Its name, derived from the indigenous language, is a testament to its rich past. From its early settlements to its modern-day attractions, Iowa has a story to tell. Geographically, Iowa is a diverse region with rolling hills, lush forests, and picturesque lakes. Its demographics are just as diverse, with a mix of cultures and traditions. Iowa is home to a vibrant economy, with a mix of industries and businesses. Education is a priority, with top-notch schools and universities. Transportation is well developed, with airports, highways, and public transit. Iowa's law and government are a testament to its commitment to democracy. Its political parties and voter trends reflect the nation's political landscape. Iowa is also known for its unique culture, with a blend of traditions, cuisine, and art. That's a wrap on our introduction to Iowa, United States of America. We hope you enjoyed this journey into its rich history, culture, and more. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video. Iowa, AQ. IQW 789 is a state in the upper Midwestern region of the United States. It borders the Mississippi River to the east and the Missouri River and Big Sioux River to the west, Wisconsin to the northeast, Illinois to the east and southeast, Missouri to the south, Nebraska to the west, South Dakota to the northwest, and Minnesota to the north. Iowa is the 26th largest in total area and the 31st most populous of the 50 U.S. states, with a population of 3.19 million. 10 the state's capital, most populous city, and largest metropolitan area fully located within the state is Des Moines, a portion of the larger Omaha, Nebraska metropolitan area extends into 3 counties of southwest Iowa. 11 other metropolitan statistical areas in Iowa include Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo-Cedar Falls, Ames, Dubuque, Sioux City, and the Iowa portion of the Quad Cities. Iowa is home to 940 small towns, though its population is increasingly urbanized as small communities and rural areas decline in population. 1213, during the 18th and early 19th centuries, Iowa was a part of French Louisiana and Spanish Louisiana. Its state flag is patterned after the flag of France. After the Louisiana Purchase, pioneers laid the foundation for an agriculture-based economy in the heart of the Corn Belt. 14. In the latter half of the 20th century, Iowa's agricultural economy began to transition to a diversified economy of advanced manufacturing, processing, financial services, information technology, biotechnology, and green energy production. 1516 politically, Iowa is notable for the Iowa caucuses, an influential event in national politics, as well as its high levels of voter turnout and foundational leadership in civil rights, including early adoption or support of black suffrage, women's rights, and same-sex marriage. 1718-1920 Iowa's standard of living is ranked among the best states, and it performs highly on metrics such as governance, education, infrastructure, and safety. 2122 etymology. Like many other states, Iowa takes its name from its predecessor, Iowa Territory, whose name in turn is derived from the Iowa River, and ultimately from the ethnonym of the indigenous Iowa people. The Iowa are a Chippewa-speaking Siouan nation, who were once part of the Ho-Chunk Confederation that inhabited the area now corresponding to several Midwest states. The Iowa were one of the many Native American nations whose territory comprised the future state of Iowa before the time of European colonization. 23 History main article, History of Iowa. See also, American Indians of Iowa prehistorian articles, Iowa archaeology, and American Indians of Iowa. Excavation of the 3,800-year-old Edgewater Park site when indigenous peoples of the Americas first arrived in what is now Iowa more than 13,000 years ago. They were hunters and gatherers living in a Pleistocene glacial landscape. By the time European explorers and traders visited Iowa, Native Americans were largely settled farmers with complex economic, social, and political systems. This transformation happened gradually. During the Archaic period, 10,500 to 2,800 years ago, Native Americans adapted to local environments and ecosystems, slowly becoming more sedentary as populations increased. 24. More than 3,000 years ago, during the late Archaic period, Native Americans in Iowa began utilizing domesticated plants. The subsequent woodland period saw an increased reliance on agriculture and social complexity, with increased use of mounds, ceramics, and specialized subsistence. During the late prehistoric period, beginning about AD 900, increased use of maize and social changes led to social flourishing and nucleated settlements. 20. For the arrival of European trade goods and diseases in the protohistoric period led to dramatic population shifts and economic and social upheaval. With the arrival of new tribes and early European explorers and traders, there were numerous Native American tribes living in Iowa at the time of early European exploration. Tribes which were probably descendants of the prehistoric Oneota include the Dakota, Ho-Chunk, Iowa, and Oto. Tribes which arrived in Iowa in the late prehistoric or protohistoric periods include the Illinois, Meskwaki, Omaha, and Sauk. 20. For early colonization and trade, 1673 to 1808 main articles, New France, Louisiana New France, French and Indian War, Treaty of Paris, 1763, New Spain, Louisiana New Spain, Treaty of Aranjuez as 1801, Louisiana Purchase, District of Louisiana, and Louisiana Territorial in 1718, with the modern state area highlighted first known. European explorers to document Iowa were Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet, who traveled the Mississippi River in 1673, documenting several indigenous villages on the Iowa side. 2526, the area of Iowa was claimed for France and remained a French territory until the French, before their impending defeat in the French and Indian War, transferred ownership to their ally, Spain. 27. Spain practiced very loose control over the Iowa region, granting trading licenses to French and British traders, who established trading posts along the Mississippi and Des Moines rivers. 25. Iowa was part of a territory known as La Louisiane or Louisiana, and European traders were interested in lead and furs obtained by indigenous people. The Sauk and Meskwaki effectively controlled trade on the Mississippi in the late 18th century and early 19th century. Among the early traders on the Mississippi were Julien Dubuque, Robert de La Salle, and Paul Marin. 25. Along the Missouri River, at least 5 French and English trading houses were built before 1808. 28. In 1800, Napoleon Bonaparte took control of Louisiana from Spain in a treaty. 29. After the 1803 Louisiana Purchase, Congress divided the Louisiana Purchase into 2 parts: the territory of Orleans and the District of Louisiana, with present-day Iowa falling in the latter. The Indiana Territory, created in 1800, exercised jurisdiction over this portion of the district. William Henry Harrison was its first governor. Much of Iowa was mapped by Zebulon Pike in 1805. 30. But it was not until the construction of Fort Madison in 1808 that the U.S. established tenuous military control over the region. 31. War of 1812 and unstable U.S. Control main article. Missouri Territory. Fort Madison was built to control trade and establish U.S. dominance over the upper Mississippi, but it was poorly designed and disliked by the Sauk and Meskwaki, many of whom allied with the British, who had not abandoned claims to the territory. 3130 to Fort Madison was defeated by British-supported indigenous people in 1813 during the War of 1812, and Fort Shelby in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, also fell to the British. Black Hawk took part in the siege of Fort Madison. 33-34. Another small military outpost was established along the Mississippi River in present-day Bellevue. This poorly situated stockade was similarly attacked by hundreds of indigenous people in 1813, but was successfully defended and later abandoned until settlers returned to the area in the mid-1830s. 35. After the war, the U.S. re-established control of the region through the construction of Fort Armstrong, Fort Snelling in Minnesota, and Fort Atkinson in Nebraska. 36. Indian removal, 1814 to 1830 to see also, Indian removal. United States encouraged settlement of the east side of the Mississippi and removal of Indians to the west. 37. A disputed 1804 treaty between Quash Quame and William Henry Harrison, then governor of the Indiana Territory, that surrendered much of Illinois to the U.S., enraged many Sauk and led to the 1830 to Black Hawk War. 38. The Sauk and Meskwaki were forced to sell some of their land in the Mississippi Valley to the U.S. In 1832, in the Black Hawk Purchase Treaty 39, and sold their remaining land in Iowa in 1842, most of them moving to a reservation in Kansas. 38. In 1837, some of the Potawatomi from Illinois were resettled in Iowa, while many Meskwaki later returned to Iowa and settled near Tama, Iowa. The Meskwaki settlement remains to this day. 40. In 1856, the Iowa legislature passed an unprecedented act allowing the Meskwaki to purchase the land. 41. However, in contrast to the unprecedented act of the Iowa legislature, the United States federal government, through the use of treaties, forced the Ho-Chunk from Iowa in 1848. 42. And forced the Dakota from Iowa by 1858. 43. Western Iowa around modern Council Bluffs was used as an Indian reservation for members of the Council of Three Fires. 44. U.S. Settlement and Statehood, 1832 to 1860. Main articles: Michigan Territory, Wisconsin Territory, Organic Act section, list of organic acts, Iowa Territory, admission to the Union, and list of U.S. states by date of admission to the Union. Iowa Territorial Sealable along the Mississippi. 1848. The first American settlers officially moved to Iowa in June 1833. 45. Primarily, they were families from Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, Kentucky, and Virginia who settled along the western banks of the Mississippi River, founding the modern-day cities of Dubuque and Bellevue near the site of Julian Dubuque's 17851810. Lead mining operation. 45, 46, 47. On July 4, 1838, the U.S. Congress established the Territory of Iowa. President Martin Van Buren appointed Robert Lucas governor of the territory, which at the time had 22 counties and a population of 23,242. 48. Almost immediately after achieving territorial status, a clamor rose for statehood. On December 28, 1846, Iowa became the 29th state in the Union when President James K. Polk signed Iowa's admission bill into law. Once admitted to the Union, the state's boundary issues resolved, and most of its land purchased from natives. Iowa set its direction to development and organized campaigns for settlers and investors, hosting the young frontier state's rich farmlands, fine citizens, free and open society, and good government. 49. Iowa has a long tradition of state and county fairs. The first and second Iowa State Fairs were held in the more developed eastern part of the state at Fairfield. The first fair was held October 25th to 27th, 1854, at a cost of around $323. Thereafter, the fair moved to locations closer to the center of the state and in 1886 found a permanent home in Des Moines. The state fair has been held annually since then, except for a few exceptions, 1898 due to the Spanish-American War and the World's Fair being held in nearby Omaha, Nebraska, from 1942 to 1945 due to World War II, as the fairgrounds were being used as an army supply depot. And in 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States, Civil War, 1861 to 1865 main article, Iowa in the American Civil War. Iowa supported the Union during the Civil War, voting heavily for Abraham Lincoln, though there was an anti-war Copperhead movement in the state, caused partially by a drop in crop prices caused by the war. 52. There were no battles in the state, although the Battle of Athens, Missouri, 1861, was fought just across the Des Moines River from Croton, Iowa. Iowa sent large supplies of food to the armies and the eastern cities. 53. Much of Iowa's support for the Union can be attributed to Samuel J. Kirkwood, its first wartime governor. Of a total population of 675,000, about 116,000 men were subjected to military duty. Iowa contributed proportionately more soldiers to Civil War military service than did any other state, north or south, sending more than 75,000 volunteers to the armed forces, over one-sixth of whom were killed before the Confederates surrendered at Appomattox. 53. Most fought in the great campaigns in the Mississippi Valley and in the South. 50. For Iowa troops fought at Wilson's Creek in Missouri, Pea Ridge in Arkansas, Forts Henry and Donelson, Shiloh, Chattanooga, Chickamauga, Missionary Ridge, and Rossville Gap, as well as Vicksburg, Utica, and Corinth. They served with the Army of the Potomac in Virginia and fought under Union General Philip Sheridan in the Shenandoah Valley. Many died and were buried at Andersonville. They marched on General Nathaniel Banks' ill-starred expedition to the Red River. 27 Iowans have been awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest military decoration awarded by the United States government, which was first awarded in the Civil War. 55 Iowa had several brigadier generals, and for Major Generals Grenville Mellon Dodge, Samuel R. Curtis, Francis J. Herron, and Frederick Steele Land saw many of its generals go on to state and national prominence following the war. 53 Agricultural expansion, 1865 to 1930 following the Civil War. Iowa's population continued to grow dramatically from 674,913 people in 1860-56 to 1,624,615 in 1880. 57. The American Civil War briefly brought higher profits. 58. In 1917, the United States entered World War I, and farmers, as well as all Iowans, experienced a wartime economy. For farmers, the change was significant. Since the beginning of the war in 1914, Iowa farmers had experienced economic prosperity, which lasted until the end of the war. 58. In the economic sector, Iowa also has undergone considerable change, beginning with the first industries developed in the 1830s, 59 which were mainly for processing materials grown in the area. 60. Iowa has experienced a gradual increase in the number of business and manufacturing operations. Depression, World War II, and manufacturing. 1930 to 1985, the transition from an agricultural economy to a mixed economy happened slowly. The Great Depression and World War II accelerated the shift away from smallholder farming to larger farms and began a trend of urbanization. The period after World War II witnessed a particular increase in manufacturing operations. 61. In 1975, Governor Robert D. Ray petitioned President Ford to allow Iowa to accept and resettle Thai Dam refugees fleeing the Indochina War. 62. An exception was required for this resettlement, as State Department policy at the time forbid resettlement of large groups of refugees in concentrated communities. An exception was ultimately granted, and 1,200 Thai Dam were resettled in Iowa. Since then, Iowa has accepted thousands of refugees from Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Bhutan, and Burma. 63. The farm crisis of the 1980s caused a major recession in Iowa, causing poverty not seen since the Depression. 64. The crisis spurred a major, decade-long population decline. 65 reemergence as a mixed economy. 1985 present. After bottoming out in the 1980s, Iowa's economy began to reduce its dependence on agriculture. By the early 21st century, it was characterized by a mix of manufacturing, biotechnology, finance and insurance services, and government services. 66. The population of Iowa has increased at a slower rate than the U.S. as a whole since at least the 1900 census. 67. Though Iowa now has a predominantly urban population. 68. The Iowa Economic Development Authority, created in 2011, has replaced the Iowa Department of Economic Development, and its annual reports are a source of economic information. 69. Geography. Main article, Geography of Iowa. Is also list of counties in Iowa. Topography of Iowa, with counties and major streams. Iowa is bordered by the Mississippi River on the east, along with the Missouri River and the Big Sioux River on the west. The northern boundary is a line along 43 degrees, 30 minutes north latitude. 70b. The southern border is the Des Moines River and a not quite straight line along approximately 40 degrees 35 minutes north, as decided by the U.S. Supreme Court in Missouri v. Iowa 1849 after a standoff between Missouri and Iowa known as the Honey War. 71. 72. Iowa is the only state whose east and west borders are formed almost entirely by rivers. 73. Carter Lake, Iowa, is the only city in the state located west of the Missouri River. 74. Iowa has 99 counties, but 100 county seats because Lee County has 2. The state capital, Des Moines, is in Polk County. 75. Geology. Enter Ain DeSoto Lake at DeSoto National Wildlife Refugio. Iowa's bedrock geology generally decreases in age from east to west. In northwest Iowa, Cretaceous bedrock can be 74 million years old. In eastern Iowa, Cambrian bedrock dates to c. 500 million years ago. 76. The oldest radiometrically dated bedrock in the state is the 2.9 billion-year-old Otter Creek Layered Mafic Complex. Precambrian rock is exposed only in the northwest of the state. 77. Iowa can be divided into 8 landforms based on glaciation, soils, topography, and river drainage. 78. Loess Hills lie along the western border of the state, some of which are several hundred feet thick. 79. Northeast Iowa along the upper Mississippi River is part of the driftless area, consisting of steep hills and valleys which appear as mountainous. 80. Several natural lakes exist, most notably Spirit Lake, West Okoboji Lake, and East Okoboji Lake in northwest Iowa. See, to the east lies Clear Lake. Man-made lakes include Lake Odessa, 81, Saylorville Lake, Lake Red Rock, Coralville Lake, Lake McBride, and Rathbun Lake. Before European settlement, 4.26 million acres of the state was covered with wetlands. About 95% of these wetlands have been drained. 82. Climate. Further information. Climate change in Iowacapan climate types of Iowa, using 1991 to 2020 climate normalcy Iowa annual rainfall in inches as of 2009. Iowa has a humid continental climate throughout the state, climate classification DFA, with extremes of both heat and cold. The average annual temperature at Des Moines is 50 F 10 Celsius. For some locations in the north, such as Mason City, the figure is about 45 F 7 Celsius, while Keokuk, on the Mississippi River, average is 50 to F 11 C. Snowfall is common, with Des Moines getting about 26 days of snowfall a year, and other places, such as Shenandoah, getting about 11 days of snowfall in a year. 96. Spring ushers in the beginning of the severe weather season. As of 2008, Iowa averaged about 50 days of thunderstorm activity per year. 97. As of 2015, the 30-year annual average of tornadoes in Iowa was 47. 98. In 2008, 12 people were killed by tornadoes in Iowa, making it the deadliest year since 1968 and also the second most tornadoes in a year with 105, matching the total from 2001. 99 Iowa summers are known for heat and humidity, with daytime temperatures sometimes near 90 F30 to C and occasionally exceeding 100 F38 Celsius. Average winters in the state have been known to drop well below freezing, even dropping below 18 F28 C. As of 2018, Iowa's all-time hottest temperature of 118 F48 Celsius was recorded at Keokuk on July 20, 1934, during a nationwide heat wave. 100 as of 2014. The all-time lowest temperature of 47 F40 for Celsius was recorded in Wausau on January 12, 1912. 101 Precipitation has had a relatively smooth gradient of varying precipitation across the state from 1961 to 1990. Areas in the southeast of the state received an average of over 38 inches 97 centimeters of rain annually, and the northwest of the state receiving less than 28 inches 71 centimeters. 108. The pattern of precipitation across Iowa is seasonal, with more rain falling in the summer months. Virtually statewide, the driest month is January or February, and the wettest month is June, owing to frequent showers and thunderstorms, some of which produce hail, damaging winds or tornadoes. In Des Moines, roughly in the center of the state, over two-thirds of the 30.72 inches 88.2 centimeters of rain falls from April through September, and about half the average annual precipitation falls from May through August, peaking in June. 109 settlements burst population changes by counties in Iowa, 2000 to 2009. Dark green counties have gains of more than 5%. 110. See also, list of cities in Iowa and list of largest Iowa cities by population. Iowa's population is more urban than rural, with 61% living in urban areas in 2000, a trend that began in the early 20th century. 68 urban counties in Iowa grew 8.5% from 2000 to 2008, while rural counties declined by 4.2%. 111. The shift from rural to urban has caused population increases in more urbanized counties, such as Dallas, Johnson, Lynn, Polk, and Scott, at the expense of more rural counties. 13. Iowa, in common with other Midwestern states, especially Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota, is feeling the brunt of rural flight. Although Iowa has been gaining population since approximately 1990, some smaller communities, such as Denison and Storm Lake, have mitigated this population loss through gains in immigrant laborers. 112. Another demographic problem for Iowa is the brain drain, in which educated young adults leave the state in search of better prospects in higher education or employment. During the 1990s, Iowa had the second highest exodus rate for single, educated young adults, second only to North Dakota. 113. Population source: 1910 to 2020, 67 ethnic origins in Iowa. The United States Census Bureau determined the population of Iowa was 3,190,369 on April 1, 2020, a 4.73% increase since the 2010 United States Census. 117. 118 of the residents of Iowa, 70.8%, were born in Iowa. 23.6% were born in a different U.S. state. 0.6% were born in Puerto Rico, U.S. island areas, or born abroad to American parents, and 5% were foreign-born. 119. Immigration from outside the United States resulted in a net increase of 29,386 people, while migration within the country produced a net. 6.5% of Iowa's population were reported as under the age of 5, 22.6% under 18, and 14.7% were 65 or older. Males made up approximately 49.6% of the population. 120. The population density of the state is 52.7 people per square mile. 121. As of the 2010 census, the center of population of Iowa is in Marshall County, near Melbourne. 122. The top countries of origin for Iowa's immigrants in 2018 were Mexico, India, Vietnam, China, and Thailand. 123 Germans are the largest ethnic group in Iowa. Other major ethnic groups in Iowa include Irish and English. There are also Dutch communities in state. The Dutch can be found in Pella, in the center of the state, and in Orange City, in the northwest. There is a Norwegian community in Decorah, in northeast Iowa, and there is Czech and Slovak communities in both Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. Smaller numbers of Greeks and Italians are scattered in Iowa's metropolitan areas. The majority of Hispanics in Iowa are Mexican. African Americans, who constitute around 2% of Iowa's population, didn't live in the state in any appreciable numbers until the early 20th century. Many blacks worked in the coal mining industry of southern Iowa. Others blacks migrated to Waterloo, Davenport, and Des Moines, where the black population remained substantial in the early 21st century. 124. Population in Des Moines experienced a significant increase with the establishment of the Colored Officers Training Camp at Fort Des Moines in 1917. Following the conclusion of World War I in 1918, numerous African American families made the decision to remain in Des Moines. This marked the inception of a thriving community that eventually became a residence for numerous African American leaders. 125. There is one federally recognized tribe in Iowa, the Sac and Fox tribe of the Mississippi in Iowa, and in 2020, 14,486 identified as being Native American alone, and 41,472 did in combination with one or more other races. 126. As of the 2010 census, the population of Iowa was 3,046,355. The gender makeup of the state was 49.5% male and 50.5% female. 23.9% of the population were under the age of 18, 61.2% were between the ages of 18 and 64, and 14.9% were 65 years of age or older. According to HUD's 2022 annual, there were an estimated 2,419 homeless people in Iowa. 129. According to the 2016 American Communities Survey, 5.6% of Iowa's population were of Hispanic or Latino origin of any race, Mexican for 0.3%, Puerto Rican 0.2%, Cuban 0.1%, and other Hispanic or Latino origin 1.0%. 135. The five largest ancestry groups were German 35.1%, Irish 13.5%, English 8.2%, American 5.8%, and Norwegian 5.0%. 136. Birth-to-tap population age comparison between rural Pocahontas County and urban Polk County, illustrating the flight of young adults, red, to urban centers in Iowa. D. Note, births in table don't add up, because Hispanics are counted both by their ethnicity and by their race, giving a higher overall number. Religionomana colonies were founded by German Pietists, a Christian cross on a hill in Iowa. Religious self-identification. Per Public Religion Research Institute's 2022 American Values Survey, 147, Protestantism 48%, Catholicism 20%, Unitarian, Universalist 1%, unaffiliated 29%, other 2%. A 2014 survey by Pew Research Center found 60% of Iowans are Protestant, while 18% are Catholic, and 1% are of non-Christian religions. 21% responded with non-religious, and 1% did not answer. 148. 149. A survey from the Association of Religion Data Archives, ARDA, in 2010 found that the largest Protestant denominations were the United Methodist Church with 235,190 adherents and the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America with 229,557. The largest non-Protestant religion was Catholicism, with 503,080 adherents. The state has a great number of Calvinist denominations. The Presbyterian Church, USA, had almost 290 congregations and 51,380 members, followed by the Reformed Church in America, with 80 churches and 40,000 members. And the United Church of Christ had 180 churches and 39,000 members. 150. According to the 2020 Public Religion Research Institute study, 26% of the population were irreligious. 151. The study religious congregations and membership, 2,150, to found in the southernmost 2 tiers of Iowa counties and in other counties in the center of the state. The largest religious group was the United Methodist Church in the northeast part of the state, including Dubuque and Lynn counties, where Cedar Rapids is located. The Catholic Church was the largest, and in 10 counties, including 3. In the northern tier, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America was the largest. The study also found rapid growth in evangelical Christian denominations. Dubuque is home to the Archdiocese of Dubuque, which serves as the ecclesiastical province for all 3 other dioceses in the state and for all the Catholics in the entire state of Iowa. Historically, religious sects and orders who desired to live apart from the rest of society established themselves in Iowa, such as the Amish and Mennonite near Kelowna, and in other parts of eastern Iowa, such as Davis County and Buchanan County. 153 other religious sects and orders living apart include Quakers around West Branch and LeGrand, German Pietists who founded the Amana colonies, followers of Transcendental Meditation who founded Maharishi Vedic City, an order of Cistercians of the Strict Observance monks, and nuns at the New Mellery and Our Lady of the Mississippi. By 1878, approximately 1,000 Jewish people lived in Iowa, many of whom were immigrants from Poland and Germany. 154. 155. As of 2016, about 6,000 Jews live in Iowa, with about 3,000 of them in Des Moines. 156. Language English is the most common language in Iowa, being the sole language spoken by 91.1% of the population. Less common languages include sign language and indigenous languages. About 2.5% of the general population use sign language as of 2017, while indigenous languages are spoken by about 0.5% of the population. 157. William Labov and colleagues. In the Monumental Atlas of North American English, 158, found the English spoken in Iowa divides into multiple linguistic regions. Natives of northern Iowa, including Sioux City, Fort Dodge, and the Waterloo region, tend to speak the dialect linguists call North Central American English, which is also found in North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Natives of central and southern Iowa, including such cities as Council Bluffs, Davenport, Des Moines, and Iowa City, tend to speak the North Midland dialect, also found in eastern Nebraska, central Illinois, and central Indiana. 159. Natives of east central Iowa, including cities such as Cedar Rapids, Dubuque, and Clinton, tend to speak with the northern cities vowel shift, a dialect that extends from this area and east across the Great Lakes region. 160. After English, Spanish is the second most common language spoken in Iowa, with 120,000 people in Iowa of Hispanic or Latino origin and 47,000 people born in Latin America. 161. The third most common language is German, spoken by 17,000 people in Iowa. To notable German dialects used in Iowa include Amana German, spoken around the Amana colonies, and Pennsylvania German, spoken among the Amish in Iowa. The Babel Proclamation of 1918 banned the speaking of German in public. Around Pella, residents of Dutch descent once spoke the Pella Dutch dialect. Attraction Central Iowa. Christina Ryman Butterfly Wing at Iowa State University. Ames is the home of Iowa State University, the Iowa State Center, and Ryman Gardens. Des Moines is the largest city and metropolitan area in Iowa and the state's political and economic center. It is home to the Iowa State Capitol, the State Historical Society of Iowa Museum, Drake University, Des Moines Arts Center, Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, Principal Riverwalk, the Iowa State Fair, Terrace Hill, and the World Food Prize. Nearby attractions include Adventureland and Prairie Meadows Racetrack Casino in Altoona, Living History Farms in Urbandale, Trainland USA in Colfax, and the Iowa Speedway and Vale Drive-In in Newton. Skyline of Des Moines, Iowa's capital and largest city, Boone hosts the biennial Farm Progress Show and is home to the Mamie Dowd Eisenhower Museum, the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad, and Ledges State Park. The Meskwaki settlement west of Tama is the only Native American settlement in Iowa and is host to a large annual powwow. Madison County is known for its covered bridges. Also in Madison County is the John Wayne Birthplace Museum is in Winterset. Other communities with vibrant historic downtown areas include Newton, Indianola, Pella, Knoxville, Marshalltown, Perry, and Story City. Eastern Iowa capital, Iowa City inside the Davenport Skybridge. Iowa City is home to the University of Iowa, which includes the Iowa Writers Workshop and the Old Capitol Building. Because of the extraordinary history in the teaching and sponsoring of creative writing that emanated from the Iowa Writers Workshop and related programs, Iowa City was the first American city designated by the United Nations as a City of Literature in the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. 160 to the Herbert Hoover National Historic Site and Herbert Hoover Presidential Library and Museum are in West Branch. The Amana colonies are a group of settlements of German Pietists comprising 7 villages listed as National Historic Landmarks. The Cedar Rapids Museum of Art has collections of paintings by Grant Wood and Marvin Cohn. Cedar Rapids is also home to the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library and Iowa's only National Trust for Historic Preservation site, Bruce Moore Mansion. Bruce Moore, in Cedar Rapids, Venport boasts the Fig Art Museum, River Music Experience, Putnam Museum, Davenport Skybridge, Quad City Symphony Orchestra, Ballet Quad Cities, and plays host to the annual Bix Beiderbecke Memorial Jazz Festival and the Quad City Air Show, which is the largest air show in the state. Other communities with vibrant historic downtown areas include West Liberty, Fairfield, Burlington, Mount Pleasant, Fort Madison, LeClaire, Mount Vernon, Ottawa, Washington, and Wilton. Along Interstate 80 near Walcott lies the world's largest truck stop, Iowa 80. Western Iowa. Some of the most dramatic scenery in Iowa is found in the unique Loess Hills, which are found along Iowa's western border. Historic 4th Street, Sioux City. Loess Hills east of Mondawmin. Sioux City is the largest city in western Iowa and is found on the convergence of the Missouri, Floyd, and Big Sioux rivers. The Sioux City metropolitan area encompasses areas in 3 states, Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Sioux City boasts a revitalized downtown and includes attractions such as the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Sergeant Floyd Monument, Sergeant Floyd River Museum, the Tyson Events Center, Southern Hills Mall, the Orpheum Theater, and more. The historic downtown area is also filled with multiple restaurants, bars, and other entertainment venues. Sioux City is home to 2 higher education institutions, Morningside College and Briar Cliff University. Lamar's is in the northeastern part of the Sioux City metropolitan area and is the self-proclaimed ice cream capital of the world. Lamar's is home to Wells Enterprises, one of the largest ice cream manufacturers in the world. Attractions in Lamar's include the Wells Visitor Center and Ice Cream Parlor, Harkey's Wayside Steakhouse, Bob's Drive-In, Tonsfeld Round Barn, Plymouth County Fairgrounds, Plymouth County Museum, and Plymouth County Courthouse. Lamar's hosts multiple ice cream-themed community events each year. Council Bluffs, part of the Omaha, Nebraska metropolitan area and a hub of southwest Iowa, sits at the base of the Loess Hills National Scenic Byway. With 3 casino resorts, The city also includes such cultural attractions as the Western Hills Trails Center, Union Pacific Railroad Museum, the Grenville M. Dodge House, the Ruth and Dodge Memorial, and the Lewis and Clark Monument, with clear views of the downtown Omaha skyline found throughout the city. The Iowa Great Lakes, located primarily in Dickinson County, in the northwestern section of Iowa near the Minnesota border. The Iowa Great Lakes is made up of multiple small towns, such as Spirit Lake, Arnold's Park, Milford, and Okoboji. Multiple resorts and other tourist attractions are found in and around these towns surrounding the popular lakes. Arnold's Park, one of the oldest amusement parks in the country, is located on Lake Okoboji in Arnold's Park. View of Grotto of the Redemption's Lower Arcade, small stations of the Cross, West Bend Sanford Museum and Planetarium in Cherokee, the Grotto of the Redemption in West Bend, the Museum of Danish America in Elkhorn, and the Fort Museum and Frontier Village in Fort Dodge are other regional destinations. Every year in early May, the city of Orange City holds the annual Tulip Festival, a celebration of the strong Dutch heritage in the region. 163 Northwest Iowa is home to some of the largest concentrations of wind turbine farms in the world. Other western communities with vibrant historic downtown areas include Storm Lake, Spencer, Glenwood, Carroll, Harlan, Atlantic, Red Oak, Denison, Creston, Mount Ayr, Sac City, and Walnut. Northeast and Northern Iowa redirects here. For the University of Northern Iowa, see University of Northern Iowa. Ruins of historic Fort Atkinson wood-heated floating sauna on the Farm Pond driftless area of northeast Iowa has many steep hills and deep valleys, checkered with forest and terraced fields. Effigy Mounds National Monument in Alamaki and Clayton counties has the largest assemblage of animal-shaped prehistoric mounds in the world. Waterloo is home of the Grout Museum and Lost Island Theme Park and is headquarters of the Silos and Smokestacks National Heritage Area. Cedar Falls is home of the University of Northern Iowa. Dubuque is a regional tourist destination with attractions such as the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium and the Port of Dubuque. Dyersville is home to the famed Field of Dreams baseball diamond. Maquoketa Cave State Park, near Maquoketa, contains more caves than any other state park. Fort Atkinson State Preserve in Fort Atkinson has the remains of an original 1840s dragoon fortification. Fort Dodge is home of the Ford Historical Museum and the Blandon Art Museum, and hosts Frontiers Days, which celebrate the town history. Other communities with vibrant historic downtown areas include Decorah, McGregor, Mason City, Elkader, Bellevue, Guttenberg, Algona, Spillville, Charles City, and Independence. State Widiola hosts Ragbray, the Register's annual Great Bicycle Ride Across Iowa, which is a bike across the state river to river that attracts thousands of bicyclists and support personnel. It has crossed the state on various routes each year since 1973. Iowa is home to more than 70 wineries, 164, and hosts 5 regional wine tasting trails. 165 Many Iowa communities hold farmers markets during warmer months. These are typically weekly events, but larger cities can host multiple markets. 166. Economy. See also Iowa locations by per capita income. Iowa gross state products by industry 2009, 167 in 2016. 168. The total employment of the state's population was 1,354,487, and the total number of employer establishments was 81,005. See NBC's list of top states for business in 2010 has recognized Iowa as the 6th best state in the nation. Scored in 10 individual categories, Iowa was ranked first when it came to the cost of doing business. This includes all taxes, utility costs, and other costs associated with doing business. Iowa was also ranked 10th in economy, 12th in business friendliness, 16th in education, 17th in both cost of living and quality of life, 20th in workforce, 29th in technology and innovation, 32nd in transportation, and the lowest ranking was 36th in access to capital. While Iowa is often viewed as a farming state, agriculture is a relatively small portion of the state's diversified economy, with manufacturing, biotechnology, finance and insurance services, and government services contributing substantially to Iowa's economy. 66. This economic diversity has helped Iowa weather the late 2000s recession better than most states, with unemployment substantially lower than the rest of the nation. 171. If the economy is measured by gross domestic product, in 2005 Iowa's GDP was about $124 billion. 172 if measured by gross state product. For 2005 it was $113.5 billion. 173. Its per capita income for 2006 was $23,340. 173. On July 2, 2009, Standard & Poor's rated Iowa's credit as AAA, the highest of its credit ratings, held by only 11 U.S. state governments. 174. As of September 2021, the state's unemployment rate is 4.0%. 175. Manufacturing is the largest sector of Iowa's economy, with $20.8 billion, 21% of Iowa's 2003. Major manufacturing sectors include food processing, heavy machinery, and agricultural chemicals. 16% of Iowa's workforce is dedicated to manufacturing. 66. Food processing is the largest component of manufacturing. Besides processed food, industrial outputs include machinery, electric equipment, chemical products, publishing, and primary metals. Companies with direct or indirect processing facilities in Iowa include Con Agri-Foods, Wells Blue Bunny, Barilla, Heinz, Tone Spices, General Mills, and Quaker Oats. Meatpacker Tyson Foods has 11 locations, second only to its headquarters state, Arkansas. 176. Major non-food manufacturing firms with production facilities in Iowa include 3M. 177. Arconic. 178. Amana Corporation. 179. Emerson Electric, The Hun Company. 181. SSAB. 182. John Deere. 183. Lennox Manufacturing. 180. For Pella Corporation. 185. Procter & Gamble. 186. Vermeer Company. 187. And Winnebago Industries. 188. Agriculture harvesting corn in Jones County Farm in rural northwest Iowa, central Iowa cornfield, and dairy and June industrial scale. Commodity agriculture predominates in much of the state. Iowa's main conventional agricultural commodities are hogs, with about 20.6 million hogs in 8,000 facilities, large enough to requirement or management plans, in March 2018, outnumbering Iowans by more than 7 to 1, 189 corn, soybeans, oats, cattle, eggs, and dairy products. Iowa is the nation's largest producer of ethanol and corn, and some years is the largest grower of soybeans. In 2008, the 92,600 farms in Iowa produced 19% of the nation's corn, 17% of the soybeans, 30% of the hogs, and 14% of the eggs. 190 as of 2009. Major Iowa agricultural product processors included Archer Daniels Midland, Cargill, Inc., Diamond V. Mills, and Quaker Oats. 191. During the 21st century, Iowa has seen growth in the organic farming sector. Iowa ranks 5th in the nation in total number of organic farms. In 2016, there were about 732 organic farms in the state, an increase of about 5% from the previous year, and 103,136 organic acres, an increase of 9,429 from the previous year. 192. 193. Iowa has also seen an increase in demand for local, sustainably grown food. Northeast Iowa, part of the Driftless area, has led the state in development of its regional food system and grows and consumes more local food than any other region in Iowa. 190 for 195. Iowa's driftless region is also home to the nationally recognized Seed Savers Exchange, a nonprofit seed bank housed at an 890-acre heritage farm near Decorah, in the northeast corner of the state. 196, 197. The largest non-governmental seed bank of its kind in the United States, Seed Savers Exchange safeguards more than 20,000 varieties of rare, heirloom seeds. 198. Mural in Mt. Air Post Office, the Corn Parade by Or.C. Fisher, which was commissioned as part of the New Deal. 199. As of 2007, the direct production and sale of conventional agricultural commodities contributed only about 3.5% of Iowa's gross state product. 200. In 2000, to the impact of the indirect role of agriculture in Iowa's economy, including agriculture-affiliated business, was calculated at 16.4% in terms of value added and 20.3% in terms of total output. This was lower than the economic impact of non-farm manufacturing, which accounted for 20.4% of total value added and 26.5% of total output. 201. Taxation tax is collected by the Iowa Department of Revenue. 222. Iowa imposes taxes on net state income of individuals, estates, and trusts. There are 9 income tax brackets, ranging from 0.36% to 8.98%, as well as for corporate income tax brackets, ranging from 6% to 12%, giving Iowa the country's highest marginal corporate tax rate. 223. The state sales tax rate is 6%, with non-prepared food having no tax. 224. Iowa has one local option sales tax that may be imposed by counties after an election. 225. Property tax is levied on the taxable value of real property. Iowa has more than 2,000 taxing authorities. Most property is taxed by more than one taxing authority. The tax rate differs in each locality and is a composite of county, city or rural township, school district, and special levies. Iowa allows its residents to deduct their federal income taxes from their state income taxes. 226. Education. Primary and secondary school. See also, list of school districts in Iowa. Iowa was one of the leading states in the high school movement and continues to be among the top educational performers today. 227. The four-year graduation rate for high schoolers was 91.3% in 2017. 228. Iowa's schools are credited with the highest graduation rate in the nation as of 2019. 229. Iowa has 333 school districts, 228, 1,329 school buildings, and has the 14th lowest student-to-teacher ratio of 14.2. 230. Teacher pay is ranked 22nd, with the average salary being $55,647. 230. As of 2015, transportation spending is a significant part of the budgets of rural school districts, as many are geographically large and must transport students across vast distances. This reduces the amount of money spent on other aspects of the districts. 231. The state's oldest functioning school building is located in Bellevue in the historic Jackson County Courthouse, which has been in continuous use as a school since 1848. 230. To colleges and universities. Also, list of colleges and universities in Iowa. Palmer Chiropractic College in Davenport is the first school of chiropractic in the world. The Iowa Board of Regents is composed of 9 citizen volunteers appointed by the governor to provide policymaking, coordination, and oversight of the state's 3 public universities, to special K-12 schools and affiliated centers. 233. The special K-12 schools include the Iowa School for the Deaf in Council Bluffs and the Iowa Braille and Sight Saving School in Vinton. 233. Both Iowa State University and the University of Iowa are research universities 234, with the University of Iowa also being a member of the prestigious Association of American Universities. 235. In addition to the 3 state universities, Iowa has multiple private colleges and universities. Transportation is major interstates, larger cities, and counties. Interstate Highway Iowa has for primary interstate highways. Interstate 29 I-29 travels along the state's western edge through Council Bluffs and Sioux City. I-35 travels from the Missouri state line to the Minnesota state line through the state's center, including Des Moines. 1-74 begins at I-80 just northeast of Davenport. I-80 travels from the Nebraska state line to the Illinois state line through the center of the state, including Council Bluffs, Des Moines, Iowa City, and the Quad Cities. I-380 is an auxiliary interstate highway, which travels from I-80 near Iowa City through Cedar Rapids, ending in Waterloo, and is part of the Avenue of the Saints Highway. Iowa is among the few jurisdictions where municipalities install speed cameras on interstate highways, providing a substantial revenue source from out-of-state drivers. 236 airports with scheduled flights. See also, list of airports in Iowa. Iowa is served by several regional airports, including the Des Moines International Airport, the Eastern Iowa Airport, in Cedar Rapids, Quad City International Airport, in Moline, Illinois, and Epley Airfield, in Omaha, Nebraska. Smaller airports in the state include the Council Bluffs Municipal Airport, Davenport Municipal Airport, Iowa, Dubuque Regional Airport, Fort Dodge Regional Airport, Mason City Municipal Airport, Sioux Gateway Airport, Southeast Iowa Regional Airport, and Waterloo Regional Airport. 237 railroads. See also, list of Iowa railroads. Amtrak's California Zephyr serves southern Iowa with stops in Burlington, Mount Pleasant, Ottumwa, Osceola, and Creston along its route between Chicago and Emeryville, California. 238 Fort Madison is served by Amtrak Southwest Chief, running between Chicago and Los Angeles. 239 both provide daily service through the state. Public transit is served by a number of local transit providers, including Bettendorf Transit, Campus, Cedar Rapids Transit, Clinton Municipal Transit Administration, Coralville Transit, Cyride, Davenport Citibus, Des Moines Area Regional Transit, Iowa City Transit, The Jewel, Mason City Transit, Met Transit, Omaha Metro Transit, Ottawa Transit Authority, Quad Cities Metrolink, and Sioux City Transit. Intercity bus service in the state is provided by Burlington Trailways, Greyhound Lines, and Jefferson Lines. Law and Government State. Iowa State Capitol in Des Moines, completed in 1886, is the only state capitol in the United States to feature 5 domes, a central golden dome surrounded by 4 smaller ones. It houses the Iowa General Assembly, comprising the Iowa House of Representatives and Iowa Senate. The Iowa Supreme Court, across from the Capitol, is the state's highest court. As of 2022, the 43rd and current governor of Iowa is Kim Reynolds R. Other statewide elected officials are Chris Cornwell R., Lieutenant Governor, 240 Paul Pate R., Secretary of State Obs and D., Auditor of State Roby Smith R., Treasurer of State, Mike Nagar, Secretary of Agriculture Eberna Bird R. Attorney General. Code of Iowa contains Iowa's statutory laws. It is periodically updated by the Iowa Legislative Service Bureau, with a new edition published in odd-numbered years and a supplement published in even-numbered years. Iowa is an alcohol monopoly or alcoholic beverage control state. National further information. List of United States Senators from Iowa and list of United States Representatives from Iowa. The 2 U.S. Senators: Chuck Grassley R., in office since 1981. Joni Ernst R., in office since 2015. The 4 U.S. Representatives: Marionette Miller Meeks R., 1st District Ashley Hinson R., 2nd District Satch Nunn R., 3rd District Trendy Feenstra R., 4th District after the 2010 United States Census and the resulting redistricting. Iowa lost 1 seat in Congress falling to for seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. Incumbent U.S. Representatives Leonard Boswell D. and Tom Latham ran against each other in 2012 in the 3rd Congressional District, which had new boundaries. Latham won and retired after the 2014 elections. King represented the old 5th Congressional District. Political Party's main article, Political Party Strength in Iowa. Samuel J. Kirkwood, founder of the Iowa Republican Party, abolitionist, and Iowa's Civil War governor in Iowa. The term political party refers to political organizations which have received 2% or more of the votes cast for president or governor in the last preceding general election. Iowa recognizes 3 political parties: the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and the Libertarian Party. 241. The Libertarian Party obtained official political party status in 2017 as a result of presidential candidate Gary Johnson receiving 3.8% of the Iowa vote in the 2016 general election. 242. Third parties, officially termed non-party political organizations, can appear on the ballot as well. 4 of these have had candidates on the ballot in Iowa since 2000 for various positions: the Constitution Party, the Green Party, the Pirate Party, and the Socialist Workers' Party. 240 for voter trends. See also United States presidential elections in Iowa, a result of the 2010 elections. Each party controlled one house of the Iowa General Assembly. The House had a Republican majority, while the Senate had a Democratic majority. As a result of the 2016 elections, Republicans gained control of the Senate. Incumbent Democratic Governor Chet Culver was defeated in 2010 by Republican Terry Branstad, who had served as governor from 1983 to on December 14, 2015. Branstad became the longest-serving governor in U.S. history, serving at that time 20 years, 11 months, and 3 days, eclipsing George Clinton, who served 21 years until 1804. 245 Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds succeeded him on May 24, 2017. Following Branstad's appointment as U.S. in previous eras, Democratic and Republican parties had a balance in state politics and federal representation. By 2024, the two became dominated by the Republican Party. Factors include younger people leaving for more urbanized, more Democratic-leaning states, as well as homogenization of rural voters in the Midwest and in other regions. 246 Presidential Caucus. Main article: Iowa caucus state gets considerable attention every 4 years because the Iowa caucus, gatherings of voters to select delegates to the state conventions, is the first presidential caucus in the country. The caucuses, held in January or February of the election year, involve people gathering in homes or public places and choosing their candidates, rather than casting secret ballots, as is done in a presidential primary election. 248. Along with the New Hampshire primary the following week, Iowa's caucuses have become the starting points for choosing the 2 major party candidates for president. 249. The national and international media give Iowa and New Hampshire extensive attention, which gives Iowa voters leverage. 250. In 2007, presidential campaign spending was the 7th highest in the country. 251. Culture Erzschaeffer Hall University of Iowa. Iowa City Riverside's favorite son, the Clint Eastwood movie The Bridges of Madison County, based on the popular novel of the same name, took place and was filmed in Madison County. 274. What's Eating Gilbert Grape, based on the Peter Hedges novel of the same name, is set in the fictional Iowa town of Endora. Hedges was born in West Des Moines. 275. Des Moines is home to members of the heavy metal band Slipknot. The state is mentioned in the band's songs, and the album Iowa is named after the state. 276. Sports. See also sports teams from Iowa. The state has 4 major college teams playing in NCAA Division I for all sports. In football, Iowa State University and the University of Iowa compete in the Football Bowl subdivision, FBS, whereas the University of Northern Iowa and Drake University compete in the Football Championship subdivision, FCS. Although Iowa has no professional major league sports teams, Iowa has minor league sports teams in baseball, basketball, hockey, and other sports. This variety helped bolster the Iowa sports betting industry, which has recorded over $10 billion in sports wagers, generating over $50 million for the state as of November 2024. 277. The following table shows the Iowa sports teams with average attendance over 8,000. All the following teams are NCAA division, football, basketball, or wrestling teams: 278, 279, 280, 281. The state has for NCAA Division I college teams. To have football teams that play in the top level of college football. The Football Bowl subdivision, the University of Iowa Hawkeyes play in the Big Ten Conference, 284, and the Iowa State University. Cyclones compete in the Big 12 Conference, 285. The two intrastate rivals compete annually for the Cyhawk Trophy as part of the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series. 286 in wrestling. The Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State Cyclones have won a combined total of over 30 team NCAA Division I titles, 287 to 188. The Northern Iowa and Cornell College wrestling teams have also each won one NCAA Division I wrestling team title, 289 to 190. Two other Division I schools play football in the second level of college football, the Football Championship Subdivision. The University of Northern Iowa Panthers play at the Missouri Valley Conference 291 and Missouri Valley Football Conference 292. Despite the similar names, the conferences are administratively separate. Whereas the Drake University Bulldogs play in the Missouri Valley Conference 293 in most sports, and Pioneer League for football. 290 for baseball. Des Moines is home to the Iowa Cubs, a AAA minor league baseball team of the International League and affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. 295-296. Iowa has Tahia minor league teams in the Midwest League, the Cedar Rapids Colonels, Minnesota Twins, and the Quad Cities River Bandits, Kansas City Royals. 297. The Sioux City Explorers are part of the American Association of Professional Baseball. 298. Ice Hockey. Des Moines is home to the Iowa Wild, who are affiliated with the Minnesota Wild and are members of the American Hockey League. 299. Coralville has an ECHL team called the Iowa Heartlanders that started playing in the 2021-22 season. The Heartlanders are also an affiliate of the Minnesota Wild. 300. The United States Hockey League has 5 teams in Iowa: the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders, Sioux City Musketeers, Waterloo Blackhawks, Des Moines Buccaneers, and the Dubuque Fighting Saints. 301. The North Iowa Bulls of the North American Hockey League NAHL and the Mason City Toros of the North American 3 Hockey League NA3HL both play in Mason City. 300 to 303 Soccer. The Des Moines Menace of the USL League to play their home games at Valley Stadium in West Des Moines, Iowa. The Cedar Rapids Inferno Soccer Club of the Midwest Premier League play their home games at Robert W. Plaster Athletic Complex at Mount Mercy University. The Iowa Raptors FC of the United Premier Soccer League play their home games at Prairie High School in Cedar Rapids. Iowanian Dubuque FC of the Midwest Premier League.
1 minute now until touchdown. Discovery's landing gear will be locked down and into place at 300 feet in altitude. It's currently 3,500 feet and traveling at a rate of 370 miles per hour. "30 seconds until touchdown." Main gear touchdown. Pilot Jim Dutton now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. That brings an end to the STS-131 mission, the 131st Space Shuttle flight, and the 33rd to the International Space Station. Discovery left Florida on April 5th with 7.6 tons of new science equipment and spare parts, including equipment that should improve the station's capability for Earth observation work, equipment that could help astronauts avoid muscle atrophy, and scientists better understand muscle atrophy, and equipment that will help keep the station systems cooling properly.